Charles Dickens was an English writer who was born in Portsmouth, England on February 7 of 1812. He was the second of 8 children. Charles Dickens wrote novels such as Oliver Twist, Tale of Two Cities, and the very well-known A Christmas Carol. When Charles Dickens died at age of 68 in the year of 1870 due to a stroke in Kent, he left unfinished his novel called The Mystery of Edwin Drood. The parents of Charles Dickens were John Dickens, who was a clerk in the Naval Pay Office, and Elizabeth Barrow, who always aspired to be a teacher. Despite of Charles' parents' best efforts, the family remained poor. In 1822, the Dickens family moved to Camden Town, a poor neighborhood in London. Due to Charles' father's debts, he went to prison, and at the age of 12, Charles was forced to leave school and sent to a blacking factory to work, where he only earned 6 shillings a week. This scared for life the young at the time. It is said that he felt betrayed for those who were supposed to look after him. Charles Dickens, at this moment of his life, stated, "How could be so easily cast away at such a young age?" Later, it all was reflected on his novel David Copperfield. That was not his most important work, but his favorite one. Later, Dickens was permitted to go back to school when his father received a family inheritance and used it to pay off his debts. When Charles hit 15 years old, his education was pulled out from him again. In 1827, he had to drop out of school and he started working as an office boy to contribute to his family's income. This job became the early launching point for his writing career. 6 years later, in 1833, Charles created the pseudonym Boz. Also in 1833, his relationship with Maria Bidnell, whom he had met in 1830, ended. Probably because her parents did not think that Charles was good enough for her. Years later, she will appear in the novel Little Dorrit, in a not very flattering way. But the most important event in 1833 for Charles Dickens was that his first published story, Dinner at Poplar Walk, appears in Monthly Magazine. In 1836, the clippings he had been doing as a freelancer were published in his first book, Sketches by Boz. Dickens' first success caught the eye of Catherine Hogarth, whom he married on April 2nd of that year. Together, they would have a brood of 10 children before they split in 1858. In 1836, first number of Pickwick Papers appears on March 30th. As well, in 1836, Charles Dickens meets John Foster, his best and closer friend. In 1837, Charles Dickens started publishing Oliver Twist, which follows the life of an orphan living in the streets. The story was inspired by how Dickens felt as an impoverished child forced to get by on his wits and earn his own keep. On the magazine called Bentley's Miscellany, the novel was well received in both England and America. Also in 1837, Catherine's younger sister, Mary, whom Charles idealized, dies in this year. In 1837 is when the first son of 7 sons and 3 daughters is born. From 1838 to 1841, Charles Dickens published The Life and Adventures of Nicholas Nickleby, The Old Curiosity Shop, and Barnaby Rudge. In 1842, Charles travels through Canada and the United States. American Notes appears in October, creating a future in America. In 1843, Dickens wrote his novel The Life and Adventures of Martin Chuzzlewit, a story about a man's struggle to survive on the ruthless American frontier. The book was published the following year. From 1852 to 1853, he dealt with the hypocrisy of British society with the novel Bleak House.
Created using Powtoon.